Something rather exciting has happened yesterday when my wife started our travel preparations to Ohio and Canada, the little trip that we had planned to visit our friends for Thanksgiving. It's going to be very interesting, and our friends have lived in Toronto for a while, and they regularly still go there because their two kids are going to university there. And they're big Canada fans, and I've never been to Canada. My wife has been to Canada, but it's been a while ago. So we thought when we visit them in Ohio, these guys take road trips all the time. Jay and Mukesh, very good, very good. Lovely, lovely. Looking forward to seeing you, and it's going to be a lovely time we're going to spend. But here's the little nag that has happened. Of course, Canada is a different country than the United States, so in order to travel there, you need a valid travel document, which is, of course, a passport. And it appears that we had forgotten this in light of the whole cancer shenanigans. Julia's passport has expired, and not just last week either, it was last year in November. It's a very dramatic turn of events there, because it means that Julia won't be able to travel to Canada. Or can she? It's an interesting one, because the rules and regulations are rather weird, and this is kind of happens with living in different countries and having different nationalities, and it's all very crazy. So Julia has a British passport, but we also have a US green card, so a resident alien kind of green card. That means we're not resident, we're not citizens of the United States, but we're residents, and we live here permanently. But of course, she has her passport, a UK passport. I, on the other hand, have a German passport, and I also have a US green card. So I'm also a resident here, not a citizen. I'm a citizen of Germany. I don't have dual citizenship, and my passport is still valid. So now here comes the $100,000 question. Do you need a visa to get into Canada from the US? And the answer to that question is yes, you do. You do need a visa, and you can get one online for about $7. I don't know if that's US or Canadian, but it'll be $7 and it'll last about 5 years, so it's really not a big issue to do that. However, that visa allows you to travel into Canada by air. And that's very specific there, so you can't cross over by land or by sea. And in our case, we would probably do that. We would go on a road trip and we would drive over from the US into Canada. So that's not allowed with that visa. So then the next question is, of course, do I need a visa then if I want to drive over? And the answer to that question is, well, it depends. It depends on what other documentation you have. So if you have an American passport, then you do not need a visa. You can drive over for a day trip for a week or for a month. That's perfect, and you can do that. If you have another passport that is not a US passport, because it's kind of it's a bordering country, isn't it? So if you have one from another country, then you must have a visa, because they don't waive it. You still have to have a visa to go into Canada. So if you have a visa for the US and you're currently legally in the US on a tourist visa, you cannot just go and cross over into Canada on the same visa, because it's a visa for a different country, which makes perfect sense as well. So, but if you are a resident of the US, if you have a green card, then what the Canadian government is happy to do is to waive the visa and say, well, we can see you're a resident in the United States. So on that, based on that, we're happy to waive the visa requirement, and you can go in via land or sea. Still not via air, but you can travel in by car on a green card. But here's the next question, and that's the thing that we're trying to work out right now. That's the visa part. Basically, the green card kind of replaces the idea that you need a visa to get into Canada. But the big question is now, do you need a valid form of travel ID to cross into Canada on top of that? So my question, I guess, is I probably won't have an issue because I have a valid passport and I have a green card. So I suppose I could say my travel documentation is my passport and my green card allows me to go into Canada without a visa. So that's kind of both boxes ticked there. But how about my wife? Will she be able to go into Canada just on the green card, not showing a passport, or showing an expired passport for that matter? Because technically that's not a valid travel ID. So very interesting question there. I guess we're going to find out the answer as soon as we approach the Canadian border. Very, very interesting thing. We never really thought about that because, yeah, and at the same time, it's also an interesting fact that my wife, since last year, is more or less stuck in the US. So, yes, very interesting times here.